Yo, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy Roy, accompanied by the one, the only, the Dominican bad man, Sergio, aka the floor price guy. And we're Combat Sport Guys, coming back to you with another UFC post fight reaction, analysis, opinions, and update on how we did. UFC Dern versus Ribas 2 was, some would say, a banger of a card, right? Floor price guy. How you
Hey,
doing, my man? What's going
listen,
on?
I'm good, bro. It's always a pleasure. I gotta say, I gave this card 9 out of 10. You were fudding me behind the scenes. I'm gonna tell you something. Maybe it's not having that many events the last couple of weeks and getting in, but this was a good card. Now, if next week is even better, this one gets demoted. But yes, champ, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, so going off of our picks from yesterday. I was gonna say last week, but going over our picks from yesterday, Sergio hit 11 out of 14 of his picks correctly, whereas I hit 9 out of 14. I'm a bit rusty, man. I got a little bit of octagon rust, a little bit of a bad start to the year for me. I went 0-2 in the $100 challenge. I am broke. My piggy bank is at zero. It's okay. We bounce back, baby. We always do. Whereas my man hit three of his four bets. I know you got into some live betting during the bouts. Which live bet did you hit?
Ponzi. So,
Ponzinibbio, okay. Also, when
so
he went down at a plus money,
yeah,
you
I
were.
got him at a plus. So when Ponzi was getting his ass whooped, I'm like, no way these boys can sustain this pace. So I put
Nice.
a,
I
a little
figured. I figured you did.
a little tenor. So to make four, it was a 1 point plus 300. And then I think the solid bet for me was Mackenzie Dern. She got it done just to win. I'm trying to be this year, like you said, let's be a little bit more strategic. So I'm just betting on the win. But she submitted Rebus, and we'll get into that. And then the parlay that hit for me, it had to be my boy Bunes, and we talked him in the recap, and I switched. Shout out to Johnson is a Dominican brother, but Johnson did not make any weight. We'll talk a little bit about that. Johnson and where's my other brother? Where that boy at? Mm.
Right there, Soriano. Soriano and Medic.
No, it was
Right there up
Soriano.
top. Yep.
It
Up
was
top, up
Smith.
top.
It
Go
was
up,
Smith.
go up. Right there.
No, it was Smith. It was
Yeah, Jacoby Smith.
Jacoby Smith and Bunes hit. So yeah, not bad.
Nice.
Not a bad day.
Yeah. And as always, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the subscribe, make sure you comment, show some love. We always try to be transparent with our picks, with our bets, and how we're doing. We are getting better each and every time. Last year, we hit a 75% overall on our picks for these cards. And then this year, we're starting off pretty good. Congratulations, man. 11 to 14. I love that. Make sure you follow us on X at Combat Sport, guys. We do our immediate fight round by round analysis, which you'll see here now for every post fight. We'll be having these up on screen. Scroll, my man. And there you have it. Look, round three, round two, round one. Kicking off this card, we had Narulo Aliev defeating Joe Selecki via decision. Going into the fight, the odds were at a minus 700 for Aliev versus Solecki at a plus 500. He did take this fight on short notice. What did you think of this fight? I think Aliev's pressure and his uh, pressure wrestling was really good in this fight. What did you think of him, man?
Yeah, I mean, he was justified the minus 700 tag.
Yeah.
So Lecky just couldn't get it done, man. Like it was just like it was just interesting because even the first round they both went zero strikes, which is just means Levy just literally grappled him and just did whatever he wants. So Lecky should have taken more risk. I don't know Selecki's record right now, like if it's in a losing spree, but I'll tell you this: it does not look good right now. Shout out to Aliev. I would like to see Elliott evolve a little bit more with his punching, with his kicking. And when Selecki, man, Selecki's probably regretting a lot of moments because Aliv looked good in the grappling department, but in the striking department, not, it was just interesting.
Yeah. And he pulled it out. And then I think Selecki is it's a step up in competition up against, because he was initially going to go up against Ajmush, right? He was going to go up against
Yes.
Jamal Ajmush. So Selecki was a bit of a step up in competition. He took it on short notice and he got it done. I believe he is on a losing streak. Let me
Oof.
double check that.
Yeah, not good. He should have taken
He could be getting his walking papers, man. Could be
boy,
getting his.
if he's three losses in a row, I think he's getting the walk. I mean, and it's just like there was moments that I think it was in the third. He was just like, um, I don't know. He was just using more feints and more stuff, but it's just like it was just
Mhm.
weird. It was just weird because he wasn't really attacking.
Yeah. All right. Next up on the card, we had Bruno Lopez defeating. Go down. One more
Come on,
down.
you mean go up?
Oh no, sorry, it's the female fight, right? Oops, I skipped one. Did I skip one? Yeah, it's
Yes.
Fatima Klein. Okay, my apologies. Next up, we had Fatima Klein defeating Victoria Dudakova via TKO in the second round. The starting odds for this fight were -750 for Klein, whereas Dudakova was at a +500. Uh, I think this fight was pretty interesting. Fatima Klein took her down and she hit her with a vicious ground and pound in the second round. What did you think? Were you expecting her to finish her? Did you? I understand that when we talked about this fight, we did say she was the superior striker, and we did say that she's going to hit her with accuracy. She was going to be able to throw more volume and kind of beat her on the feet. Did you predict her taking down to the ground and hitting her with that ground and pound, or was you a bit surprised by that?
I was I was surprised of I think last card like 3 weeks ago we had a very similar fighter came in,
Yeah.
big dog, good striking but zero defense. With
Hmm.
Klein on the other hand, it was impressive. She displays amazing takedown defense because Dudakova was just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting, and this girl was just like, nah, I'm not. She didn't give a single takedown, and that was impressive. Made her paid for it, then got her down and punished her, finish her in the second round. This is what you want to see out of a prospect. I think the
Yeah.
other the other cool thing about this one is I did have a bet like all three female fights would go to decision, but the
Yeah.
reality is only one went to a decision. So shout out to Klein, got it done.
Yeah, shout out to Klein got it done. I think we both picked Fatima to win the fight, but I think the bets that we made, I made a bet that it was going to go over the 2.5 rounds. Obviously, it didn't. It got finished within the second round, so it happens sometimes, right? Next up, we had Bruno Lopez defeating Magomed Gaziasulev via decision, unanimous decision. Going into this fight, Magomed was a -290, whereas Lopez was a +240. He was the favorite going into this fight, and he just couldn't get it done. His striking wasn't there. His wrestling wasn't all there. What did you think of the fight, man?
I think all of us expecting Magomedov to win, but the reality is the first round looked mad sus, but the
Hmm.
second one, my boy, I don't know what happened in the corner. They both transfer souls. Apparently, Lopez became the Dagestani wrestler and just started grinding. Brother, the clinch work was phenomenal. He just
Hmm.
fatigued them. He just fatigued them and
He's
got him out.
outworked him. He outworked him. He fatigued him, and the cardio wasn't all there for Magomed, man.
Yeah. That first round at 29-28. Lopez, first time in the UFC getting a W. I mean, shout out to him. Boy, oof. I mean, look, my boy in Dagestan, when he gets back home, they're not going to be happy with him. I'll
He
just say
was he wasn't fighting like a Dagestani. I'll tell you that much, man. Not what we were expecting. I think a lot of people. I honestly, I think a lot of people put a bet on Magomed based on that alone. That he has the name. He's from Dagestan. They were expecting him to just fucking control him, getting on the ground and brawl him and maul him. But that didn't happen, right?
he looked good in the striking department, but like I said before, my man needs to go back to Dagestan and work on his grab and Zambo.
Yeah. Next up, we had Ernesta Caracase defeating Nicole Cagliari via split decision. Going into this fight, Ernesta was at a -275, whereas Cagliari was at a +225. What did you think of this fight, man? Break it
I
down for me.
think. Listen, I think this fight, the first round, what do you call it? Cagliari won, but the second round, oof, Ernesta took over. The range, the strike, the body work, it was great. I think the observation, it was a split decision, but the
Hmm.
reality is like Ernesta really took it. So I just say for the future, um, Cagliari should drop down weight division. She's in flyweight right now. I
Hmm.
she's a good fighter. It's not that she's a bad fighter. It's just those lightweight fighters. They're big, man. Those
Yeah.
girls are big.
And I think something to note, and I think you wrote it here as well, is they looked like they were in two different weight classes, and the size difference, the size that Ernesta brings is just crazy. She's tall, she's lengthy. I think that was another decided factor in that fight too. Was the size? I think it was too much for her.
She was a very good fighter. I do like how when she like for example, her range was there. And the thing is, the first round, Cagliari was able to take her down. She was able to mix it up, but it's just a matter of reading and just reading her opponent. After
Mhm.
that, Cagliari stuffed everything. I would like to see her straw weight. Ernesta, shout out to her, got it done. She needs to start getting better in the first round. Pick her range. When you have that much length, you need to utilize your length. Don't let nobody pop, pop, pop. Don't let
Exactly.
nobody get close to you. Why are you letting? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like you said, don't let anybody get close to you. But look at those photos, man. She looks like a female Sean O'Malley, bro. Look at her. Looks like a
Crazy.
female Sean O'Malley, right?
Yeah. No. It's it's insane. Like
You don't agree?
my boy, trying to get us canceled here, eh? No, he's not
Who
messing
cares?
around.
I'm not trying to get us canceled.
I wish
But
I had more pictures, but even like Cagliari, when she would get on the inside, she would rip the body, and it was beautiful. But yeah, like I said, that first round for her, the takeaways for Ernesta is I would like Ernesta to establish her range. You don't have to be aggressive. Maybe circle away. Use your jab. You use your advantage. Use your
yeah,
length and
use your
step
jab.
back.
Yeah,
That's it.
improve on your footwork a little bit. Move in and out. Utilize your jab. Work your opponent that way, right?
And then rip her in the second because that's what she lost
Yeah.
the first round. And they still gave it to Ernesta, by the way. But
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yeah. And real quick, if you guys are tuning in right now, if you've made it this far into the video, be sure to hit the like, the subscribe, make sure you comment, show some love. Make sure you follow us on X. We do these round by round fight immediate analysis. We have it pinned to the top of our X account. So if you are unable to watch the fight or you just want to get a refresher, you want to get a recap, make sure you click on the post in our pinned tweet, and then you have all the fights there. You have our picks, you have our bet, everything is there. Full transparency from us, full accountability. Make sure you check that out. It's always love. Moving on here, we had Jacoby Smith coming in on short notice up against Preston Parsons. Even despite coming in on short notice, Jacoby Smith was the favorite at a minus 575, whereas Parsons was the underdog at a plus 350. We both had picked Jacoby to win this fight. I had thought it was going to be via the route of just fucking out wrestling him, pressure wrestling him, controlling him on the ground, just working him, exhausting him, working him. I did not expect him to knock him out in the first round. Great performance, great UFC debut. What did you think of Jacoby Smith, man?
Brother, the reason I don't have any text is because as soon as they started writing, he just knocked them out.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was vicious. Like, and that's why I told you I give the card a 9 out of 10 because there was a lot of first round finishes and they were like that. This one was, I think, less than a minute. Wasn't my boy Smith supposed to come in and grapple?
That's what we
And
thought.
we thought my boy put that boy to sleep. Shout out to Jacoby Smith.
Yeah, shout out to Jacoby Smith. He has a good ceiling. I think they're gonna be able to build him up slowly, right? Him demonstrating the striking that he has knockout power, him demonstrating that he's a good wrestler. Gonna be intrigued to see what he could do in the future up against tougher opponents. So keep an eye on him.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we were on opposing ends in this fight. We had Thiago Moises defeating Trey Ogden via decision. Moises coming into this fight was at a minus 160, whereas Ogden was at a plus 135. And I think this fight really just came down to the ground, right? Once the fight got on the ground, Moises was able to control him for about 7 minutes. That's half the fight, and he was able to pull out the victory. What did you think of the fight? I think on the feet, Ogden did look a little better in the striking department, but once it got taken down to the ground, I think he shot for the takedown and he got dominated when he was on the ground. But yeah, I think the big differentiating factor here was the ground game. What did you think of this fight, man?
So Moises, and this is what I personally predicted,
Mm-hmm.
the grappling, but the reality is Moises came with the calf kicks were on point that night. The reason why Ogden lost this fight is because he was not checking the calf kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Off the bat, first minute in, Moises had already thrown 4 calf kicks, and he made sure that they were very powerful, and that added up because yes, Ogden had the better pressure coming
Mm-hmm.
forward, but it's not this, like, you weren't really hurting him. Maybe you could have scored a knockdown, but what happened was in the second round, I think he knocked him down. He knocked him down with a calf kick, and that was the beginning of the end. Because okay, well, now we got a situation in the second where I touch your calf, my boy went down. So what did Moises do? Grappling. So honestly, that's why the odds shot up to minus 500. But in the third round, champ, and this is what I don't understand, is that going to me was even odds. To me, maybe that first round was in the air, really, but
Mm-hmm.
you got to go in the second. You got to try and strike. So what does he do? There was a scramble. He tried to engage for kind of like a takedown, and what
Mm-hmm.
happened? It was his downfall, and that's why Shadow Moises reversed him, got the takedown, and that's all she wrote, man. I mean, look, this will haunt him. he should have stayed standing up. But again, his calf was already
Yeah, it was.
compromised too, right? So
Yeah. So Thiago Moises did pull it out. You got the pick correct, and I think he was a part of one of your parlays that hit as well, right? So congratulations to you. Moving on here, we had the debuting Marco Tulio defeating Ihor Porteria, one of my favorite names to say, Ihor Porteria, via KO in the first round. Starting odds for the fight were Tulio at a minus 600, whereas Porteria was at a plus 475. Marco Tulio came out aggressive. He came out hot, and he secured the TKO, the KO victory. What did you think?
fuck, man, nobody expected. I think first and foremost, let's say that Puteria, bro, is one of the most unfortunate guys in the roster.
Yeah.
Uh, kick to the nuts, then an eye poke, and I'm like, man, my guy's really really in a situation. But brother, that didn't stop Tulio. Tulio went aggressive with that, but he just knocked him
Yeah.
out, floored him. Another first round. Shout out to Norma Dermont, that's her boy. I mean, yeah, I did not expect. This is not good for Tupuria. I think this is the last fight we see Puteria in the UFC. I think he's coming a couple losses now in a row, if I'm not mistaken. But Tulio, flying colors.
Yeah, I want to see what his record is because I remember I had it written down, but I don't have my notes. Let me see.
Yeah, I think he's coming out. And Almeida was in this fight too. So it's
It
just
was on the card. He was on the card, yeah.
yeah, it's just unfortunate, like this whole thing. And
Let's look at Poteria. What's his record at right now? His last five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he's only 1-4 in his last 5 fights.
no,
You never know. Could be his walking papers as well, man. Unless they want to just put him in that role where they're giving him these young up and comers, right? These prospects. But, yeah,
minus plus 475. Well done.
yeah. Next up, we had Felipe Bunez defeating Jose Johnson via armbar in the first round. The starting odds for this fight were Johnson was the favorite at a minus 155, whereas Bunez was the underdog at a plus 133. We had both selected Felipe to win this fight, and he did via submission. I didn't think he was going to get it via submission. I thought it was going to go the distance. He was going to get a split decision victory, but yeah, he got him down on the ground, man. And his jiu-jitsu, he's good off his back. What did you think?
I think Johnson lost this fight. It wasn't that Bunez won, it's just Johnson lost. He came hot. That guy's also Dominican. That's why I was having a little bit of time. Like, is it me picking my?
You're having a tough time choosing against a Dominican. Be honest. Just be honest.
Yeah,
You're a little biased when it comes to Dominicans.
Well, I mean, that's why I picked Bunez, because the thing is, Dominicans don't do that good in the UFC. That's the reality. There's been a couple. Well, there's a heavyweight that's doing better. I forget his name. He fought the Cuban guy that just got cut. But going back into this fight, he was hot. The first couple of rounds, I was a bit scared. Like the odds went up, fired up to like minus 400 at one point for Johnson. But it's just he was just all over the place. It looked like kind of like TJ Dillashaw on cocaine. Like it was insane. I want to rewatch that run because it's so funny. But I think what ended up happening that there was a position. It wasn't that Bunez. Let me just hear. But Bunez, yeah, this is what it was. Yeah, takedown by Bunez, but Johnson reversed the position. And then by him reversing the position is when Bunez was able to use his jiu-jitsu and get him on an arm triangle. Let him go. Johnson was in the guard. And it was very similar to Mackenzie Dern. Bunez has a very active guard. So he chased for the submission and got it. Forced the tap.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's just beautiful.
And you have the image there. Yeah. Next up, we had Punahele Soriano defeating Uros Medic via KO in the first round. The starting odds for this fight were Medic was at a minus 220, whereas Soriano was at a plus 180. I had picked Uros Medic to win this fight. You had picked Soriano to win this fight. And it was a lot of what we said in our pre-fight analysis. We said that Soriano likes to start off hot. He has that power. He slugs in the beginning of the fight. And all Medic had to do was to keep him at range, piece him up, and then let the fight go further, let the fight go the distance so you can kind of tire him out. But no, he got caught immediately in the first round. He clipped him, knocked him out, That's all she wrote. I know you were very excited. I could tell. You know how I know you were excited? No, I'm not going to say. You were very, very excited. I know you were excited, and I know you were happy because you had a bet on Soriano, and yeah, it was good. You got the
No,
win.
no, there wasn't any bet on Soriano. There wasn't any bet.
There was no bet? Oh, it was just a pick. Okay.
Well, no, no, yeah, I just predicted the first round. I just predicted the knockout. So the reality was Soriano was very inconsistent the last couple of
Yeah.
fights, but it's like Medic, Soriano. You add the fact that this is not a pay-per-view, it means it's a smaller octagon. They haven't been fighting in the last kind of 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't know, his demeanor, he looked very calm, and I was a bit worried because Medic did look hyped up. But as soon as he started to kind of like let it go, I'm like, he's gonna catch him. And voila, behold, I think he caught him in a minute, put him to sleep.
You put him to
Alex
sleep, and
Soriano.
yeah. And then for the people watching, like whenever myself and Serge are on opposing ends of a fight, it gets a little competitive, right? Like, if my guy wins and his guy goes wrong, I'm gonna talk crap, but my man took the high road. He didn't jab me at all. He didn't hit me with any shade. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's a new year, new you. Who knows? But I was expecting you to send me a little voice recording talking shit, but it's all good, man.
We're good.
Next up, we had Christian Rodriguez defeating Austin Bashi via unanimous decision. The starting odds for this fight was Bashi was the favorite at a minus 250, whereas Rodriguez was the underdog at a plus 210. Rodriguez is becoming the prospect killer, huh? He got Raul Rosas Jr., he has Isaac Dugarian, and now Bashi under his belt. What did you think of this fight? What did you think of the decision? Do you agree with the unanimous decision? You don't think Bashi took a round or two?
Bashi
You
took
think
the Bashi took the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Um,
I
first
think
round,
the first round you can give it to him as well. It's arguable.
mm, it was either the first or the second that I gave it to. I'll tell you this. No, no. So it was Rodriguez. Sorry, Rodriguez the first and Bashi the second.
Mhm.
Because he was more successful. It's just he stopped with a lot more here, but then he kind of secured lockdowns, takedowns. You see, with 30 seconds, security and landing knees. It was just the third round that I think he got really outclassed. And the reality is, um, Raw just used the experience and he prepared, and his conditioning was on point. He
Mhm.
started. I'm not going to say showboating. I think that's showboating, because you're dealing with somebody up and coming, 9 wins. He's only 23 years old.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, I think John Jones won the belt at 23. I want to say 24, but I digress. Like, I mean, look, he,
Different times, man. Different times.
different times, yeah. But Bashi has a lot of potential in the future. It's just Rodriguez is just a little bit too much right now. Unfortunately, his striking was on point.
Yeah, and I think Rodriguez's ability to scramble on the ground was impressive as well. And I don't think this is the end for Bashi. I still think his ceiling is high. I think I want to see how he comes back from this fight. When his next fight is going to be and how he looks in that fight, because a loss like this can affect your mental a little bit. But I want to see how he comes back and how he improves. So it's not over for him. We'll see what happens. Next up, we had Roman Kopylov defeating Chris Curtis via third round referee stoppage knockout. Right. He didn't really knock him out, but the referee intervened and stopped him with 1 second left on the clock. Questionable. Do you agree with the stoppage? Do you agree with Did you like the fight? I think the fight was a lot of what we expected, right? Just two guys throwing hands, and I think Kopylov, had it gone to a decision, I would have given it to Kopylov because in that third round, it was 1-1 going into the third round, and in that third round, he secured multiple takedowns. I think he secured 2 or 3 takedowns, and he kind of was looking to secure his path to victory via that way. You could tell they were both tired, right? So he got to 2 to 3 takedowns in the third round. If had it gone to the decisions, the judges' scorecard, I would have given it to Kopylov, but he knocked him out with a head kick. He knocked him down with a head kick, put him on his pockets at the end of the third round, and the referee stepped in and said, "Yo, it's enough. It's over." Curtis was obviously mad. His team was mad. They were frustrated with 1 second left. He wasn't. He was still in the fight. He wanted to get back on his feet and continue the fight or finish the fight fully. What did you think, man? Do you agree with the stoppage?
I don't agree with the stoppage. It's 1 second in. Kopylov late. Kopylov was tired as well, man.
Yeah.
Kopylov says, "Oh, I was thinking about the family." Now, my boy, you were tired because you were going. You took the first round, but then the second one, brother Curtis took over. At one point he had 111 significant strikes.
Yep.
The biggest difference was the third round that Curtis looked more tired, and Kopylov was able to mix it up with the grappling, with the. I think that's what it was. But brother, you got to let that man go on a shield, man, because look at the kick right there. The kick hit him, it dazed him. But the whole thing about stoppage, you have to intelligently defend yourself. And also what sort of danger? He was not in danger. He
Exactly.
was defending himself the right way. So what the fuck, Mark Smith? So
Yeah. And like you mentioned, he has to be in immediate danger. And Kopylov didn't go in for the kill. He didn't try to go in for the ground and pound or none of that. He literally was just because he was tired. He was visibly tired. So questionable stoppage. I think we saw this last year as well with Chris Weidman. Remember Chris Weidman versus Akers, where he the fight got finished at close to the end of the second round. Yeah, that's the doctor, not the doctor. The referee stepped in and ended it with 1 second left. He should have let it go into the third round, but
let it
yeah,
go.
it is what it is. Questionable. I don't know what his mind was going and making that decision, but it is what it is, man.
I think there's a hunch because here's the thing about it, and it's Curtis and Sean Strickland, and I tweeted about it how Sean Strickland after the second round, because Curtis fights very similar to Sean Strickland. However, it's just he doesn't have the length, right?
Yeah.
Curtis has the dirty boxing, dirty boxing. Um, there's a lot of shots that Kopylov would land and Curtis would block it. Pop, pop was
Hmm.
blocking, and I think that's the issue. You're seeing the referee, and you're seeing, holy shit, these guys have received a ton, over 100 significant strikes. They're dazed, they're that. I don't think the referee is worrying about the time,
Yeah.
nor does he. But the reality is, like, you heard the let the man go on a shield. He wasn't in any danger. Like we've seen. What about Frankie? Okay, Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard 2 and 3. Gray beat the shit out of Frankie in the first round, and he's wobbling, he's circling. Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez gets hit, and my boy starts breakdancing on the floor. It's the same thing. My guy literally just went down and came back up, and the referee, it was in his face.
Yeah. It just depends on the referee, right?
He wasn't.
What their perspective is and what their point of view is, right? They're in the octagon. They obviously have a different perspective of the fight. So we'll see.
But that it's just for moral. The reality, if Kopylov would have won, I really think in one of these strange fights, I would have
Uh-huh.
loved to see it go to a third, because even though Kopylov would have won, I still think maybe he would have been a split decision, but but maybe, because we know how these refs
Yeah.
are, especially with that first round. But I'll say this: I mean, look, let the man go on it. It's like Izzy versus Pereira. Let that
Hmm.
man go on a shield. That's it. Let him man go off on a shield.
Yeah. Yeah. Next up, we had Cesar Almeida defeating Abdul Razak Al Hassan via KO in the first round. Starting odds for the fight where Al Hassan was at a plus 250 and Almeida was at a minus 260. This fight was interesting because Abdul Razak Al Hassan started off hot. He put him on his pockets. You know, I think everybody's heart dropped when they saw Almeida go down, right? He got on his pockets, he got up right away, and Hassan thought he had him hurt. He went in for the kill. And when you go in for the kill, what happens? You leave yourself open to getting countered. And that's exactly what happened. He got hit with the left hook to the jaw, got placed out cold. Contender already for knockout of the year, a lot of people are saying in the first
Yep.
in the first UFC card. What a beautiful knockout. And then to end off the fight, Cesar Almeida doesn't ask for, like you mentioned, doesn't ask for
Yeah.
the bonus. He doesn't ask for Dana for money. All he asks for is to be put on some cards for his daughter, be put in the video game for his daughter.
Yeah. My water
You
wants
gotta
some.
love it, man. You gotta love it.
It was stunning, the KO, because this is the tale that Abdul will see. Like
Hmm.
if he watches this fight, the desperation. He It wasn't that Almeida knocked him out; he knocked himself out when he's winging like that, and then because he was just winging at one point. So what did Almeida do? He did the Pereira left hook. He sat on it and he took him out, and it was flawless. But this is not the first time um, Alzam's been knocked out this way, so I think it's a clear 6 months to 1 year of just inactivity. Just relax. When he did knock him out, he didn't. It took him more than like a minute, 2 minutes to get
Hmm.
get conscious back. So yeah, I mean, look, shout out to Almeida, got it done. Um, Alzan needs to go back on a diet and go back down on the weight, like welterweight. Yeah, or just lose a little bit of muscle, because these middleweights, bro, they hit heavy.
And there's nothing to take away from Abdul. I think he did what every fighter would do. His sense of urgency was there, right? He saw that his opponent was hurt and he went in for the kill. But I think when you go in for the kill, you still have to maintain somewhat of technique and you have to have your guard up, right? Especially when you're going up against a competent striker, a kickboxer like Cesar Almeida, the counter is always there. So he just got hit, right? He got hit, he got put on his pockets, and it's all she wrote, man. Look at
Look
that.
right there. Look, left hook to left hook, both of them. But it's just Almeida planted. Look at that little feet planted. They would even say my boy was cheating. He used the fence. This is the MMA game, baby.
Next up, we had a similar outcome. We had Santiago Ponzinibbio defeating Charleston Harris via TKO in the third round. Ponzinibbio came into this fight at a minus 160, whereas Harris was at a plus 135. We had both picked Ponzinibbio to win this fight. I had said that I was going to stay away from this fight. I thought it could go either way, but Ponzinibbio came out. He got it done. He got dropped. I think it was in the first round. He got dropped twice. Is that
Yeah,
what happened?
yeah.
He got dropped twice in the first round. He got put on his pockets. And, I think the odds, let's see, what did the odds change? After that, Harris became the favorite at a minus 350. And Ponzinibbio became the underdog at a plus 250 after the first round based on him getting dropped twice. And I think that's where you came in and you put in some money on Ponzinibbio because you were licking your lips. You're like, this fight ain't over. My man's durable. Going into the second round, he switched up the game plan, right? Ponzinibbio came out with a little bit more forward pressure, got the striking in. He was hitting him with that jab and that left hook, man. He kept hitting him with that right hook, I'm sorry. And it was efficient for him. It was working for him. And in the third round, got it done. What did you think of this fight, man?
I think, man, I only put money on Ponzi because look, I knew Harris was not able to sustain this level of intensity
Yeah.
till the third, and that's what happened in the third. He faded, and that's the thing about it. When you go, bro, he was going hot, and the thing is, the way he was throwing it was so quick that I like to think from when you throw punches that way, I look at it from an energy perspective. Okay, you're 38. How much energy are you exerting? And the reality is, the third round, it wasn't that he was hurt. It wasn't that Ponzi was landing better strikes. It's just that his gas tank wasn't there anymore. And
Yeah.
then you're open up, you're more susceptible. He was very good. Both fighters, I mean, Ponzi wants to fight one more time. Maybe give him Michael Chiesa. Maybe they could be the retirement fight for those both gentlemen. Well, but yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't put him against a new up and comer. This is not, bro. Ponzinibbio beat Sean Strickland years ago, like years ago. Think about that when Sean had like long hair. So Ponzi been fighting for a while. So shout out to him. I think give him Chiesa. Have a little bit of fun with that. With Harris, also 38, he needs to reevaluate his gas tank situation, man. Because
Yeah. And I think, with making the live bet, I think it's a good thing to do. One of the things we're going to incorporate, and I don't know if we're going to do it for 311 or for the Saudi Arabia card, is we're going to go live, right? I think you wanted to go live on one of these weekdays, right? Friday or Saturday, or for the fight itself. And I think that's gonna be where that comes into play, where we are able to go live, and then as we're live streaming, say, hey, the odds shifted after this round. I'm gonna put X amount on, this fighter because he's now a dog, right? At dog money, I think he's gonna pull it out because so and so's cardio is not there. He's, he got that round, whatever, yada yada yada, whoop de whoop de whoop, and then boom. I think that's something that's gonna be beneficial for us, right? Once we start live streaming, that's something we're gonna do. We gotta find a day. Are we gonna do it for 311 or for Arabia? We'll see. We'll talk
let's
about
see.
it.
Let's find out. Yeah, we'll find
But
out.
yeah, that was our co-main event. Now going into the main event, we had Mackenzie Dern defeating Amanda Ribas. It's Amanda Ribas, huh? I've been saying Ribas. It's because I'm Mexican, bro. I gotta roll the R's. Ladies out there, calm down, chill. Listen, it's Ribas. The Brazilians, they sometimes pronounce the R like an H, so I gotta get used to that. Sometimes they say Pereira. It's actually Pereira. So I apologize, guys. Don't flood me. It's Amanda Ribas via armbar in the third round. Going into this fight, Dern was the underdog at a plus 180, whereas Ribas was the favorite at a minus 215. You know what's interesting? When they were supposed to be on the Tampa card, Ribas was the underdog and Dern was the favorite. And then it got switched when they got the main event. So I wonder what happened there or why it changed suddenly. But I
Makes
think
sense.
this fight prior to the armbar submission was 1-1 going into the third round. I think Ribas was doing good on the ground, maintaining that guard, but she got caught by Dern. I think Dern's path to victory here was strictly just securing those takedowns and then looking for those submissions. And I think she really demonstrating her high level jiu-jitsu, right? She I think she attempted three armbar attempts in the fight. Was it three? Yeah. So shout out to Dern. She got it done. Her physique looked a lot better, as you mentioned, in comparison to the first fight. I think we posted about the transformation from the 2019 to 2024. So yeah, what did you think, man?
I think it was a great fight. I mean, look, the reality was Dern took her down on the first round. Dern, here's the issue. Dern wants to fight that, you know pick up on rematches. I don't think her striking is there yet.
Hmm.
It's a little bit like her overhands are very
Yeah, her striking's not all there yet.
yeah, that's not really there yet. Reba's is a bit better in the striking department. We also need to remember that, Dern, Dern wasn't an amateur fighter like prior to the UFC. After jujitsu, the thing is, listening to this post press conference, it was money. She was talking about money and other jujitsu organizations, and I think she just wanted to get paid. Good looking girl, great jujitsu, she wants to get paid. So I think she was rushed into the UFC, and because she wanted to make a little bit of moolah, especially like the money she's making in Brazil is like it's so much more money, right? Let's be honest with each other. I think she's living in Cali now, but the reality is, um, the first time they fought, she wasn't ready. That's why the whole thing. And I put that thing down. I put it up. I was like, oh, I think I made something about what do you guys think about Dern, Ribas, and it's like, oh, Ribas gonna take it, and I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, 5 years, people gain experience. So this whole fight was about that. So she was more patient. Her conditioning was better. I think they favored Ribas in this round because they said if this goes 5 minutes, the cardio advantage is going to go to Ribas.
Hmm.
Now, the issue with this is that Ribas took the second, Dern took the first. But what happened, and this is so interesting, um, Ribas was, she respected Dern too much. Like she caught the guard, and Dern has a very active guard, and I think Ribas kind of forgot about that, or said, you know what, I'm also a black belt, do whatever you want. It wasn't the first time she put an arm
Yeah.
triangle, and like look what happened, champ. I mean, look, if you look back at retrospective, what do you do if you're Rivas? You don't take her down. You don't, girl. You go down because the amount of submission attacks that Dern was throwing, they were a lot, champ, and she paid the price. Now, what I would want from Dern, I would
Hmm.
want Dern to take 6 months, just work on a striking. Yes, work on jiu-jitsu, but striking. Now with Hibas needs to experiment more camps. Her dad trains her. I think the next evolution of this is her going to different camps and venturing out. But yes, Mackenzie Dern was one of my single bets, was my top winner. From the $100 bet, I blasted $50, and $50 gave me 50 back plus how much? Plus maybe like $80 or $90 back.
Nice. Yeah, and I think as you mentioned, Hebus did have the advantage when Dern was on her back, right? When she had the top position, she had the advantage. But once Dern was able to scramble off her back and get that top mount, it was all you could see the level of jiu-jitsu, that the differentiating factor there. And in comparison to the first fight, now that I think about it, like and the totality of it all, Dern, as you mentioned, she was a big. They were both a big green, right? But Dern was also coming off of pregnancy, right? She just had her daughter.
Mhm.
Her body doesn't look like it does now. The cardio probably wasn't all there as well, right? If you rewatch that fight, so it's a lot of differentiating factors in the first fight in comparison to this. But as far as the evolution of both fighters, I think they're both a lot of the same, right? I think they both have to just kind of go to that next level, as you mentioned, practice on the striking, Dern, take 6 months off, and also with Dern, like he was, go to different camps, right? She was training up for this fight with Henry Cejudo. She was training with all grapplers. She needs to go see some strikers and really improve on her striking game. And I think that's
Dern,
what's going to take her to the next level, right?
Dern, right?
Yeah, Dern. I'm talking about Dern. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying about Ribas. Ribas, I would want to see her like, bro. Ribas needs to just travel the world a little bit. Just
Yeah. Take some time, right? And just learn from other camps and see how people are training and just, get new techniques from other fighters, right?
yeah, man. Listen, the champ of that division has insane amount of power and like the thing, bro. Like I look at that fight and like you put any one of these girls against Tatiana Suarez, Tatiana would have won easily. Tatiana would have
Of course,
controlled.
yeah. She was in attendance, man. Licking her lips, bro, watching the fight.
I mean,
One of our favorite things to say is licking their lips.
looking
But
their lips. It's looking like, oh, is this the girl after I'm done with the champ? That fight's in less than a month from now, eh?
yeah. Um, we will be back with UFC 311. That is going to happen this Saturday on January 18th. Islam Makhachev defends his lightweight title up against Arman Sarukian. And the co-main, we have Merab Dvalishvili defending his bantamweight title up against Umar Nurmagomedov. Both are going to be banger fights. A lot of people are already footing the co-main, saying, "Oh, they're going to hug each other. It's going to be boring." It's going to be a very competitive fight. It's going to be very exciting. True MMA fans are going to like this fight. It's going to be a good fight. There we have it. Our full breakdown of UFC 101. Mackenzie Dern against Amanda Ribas 2. I think they're going to run it back for a third in the future. I think they're both going to get in 2 more fights or each, kind of, get Ribas back in the win column, get, Dern a couple more W's, and then they're gonna call each other out again. One or the other is going to call each other out again for that third. I think that's my opinion. Make sure you guys follow us on X. We do have our fight analysis, our round by round analysis, our picks, our bets. We do engage with everybody there. We are growing that account. I think we got about 60 to 70 followers last night alone on a fight night. So on a pay-per-view, we do double that amount. So make sure you follow us. Make sure you show some love. Look at the pinned tweet. Make sure you read that. We put a lot of time into that. It's something that we find passionate, something that we do, something that we do different from these other MMA accounts, right? Some people go live during the fight. Some people put tweets out during the fights. We put out these round by round analysis. So make sure you tap in. Make sure you show some love. Something that we do unique to us. And we are doing the $100 challenge. Whereas I'm broke this after this card, and my man, he's got some money, so I'm gonna have to ask for a loan. I'm gonna have to go to Serge and be like, "Yo, brother, let me get a loan." And we are doing the unity bet. So I'm gonna let Serge talk about the unity bet. This is something that he came up with and something that I kind of like. Whereas we take our favorite picks from the card and we put them all into one big parlay, and we throw $5 to $10 on it. Talk about the unity bet. How do we do in the unity bet?
I mean, yeah, and what I think the Unity bet, it's cool that we do it. It's only $5. $5 would have made us $300, and yeah, it's basically if we agree on picks, we that becomes part of the uni bet. So we agreed on roughly 9 of these. So basically, well, no more than I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So out of 10 fighters, only 2 of them lost. So basically, Magomedov lost, and then you have Bashi that lost. It is what it is, but it would have been a sick ass return. I don't recommend putting a lot of money on this. It's just $5,
Oh, just five
right?
bucks.
Like,
That's
yeah, just
fun. The Unity bet's fun, right? One thing that we're also gonna throw out there is I'm gonna start throwing out there a DGen bet, kind of like I did here. This was a little teaser. We did an 8-leg parlay for a +2, 2041. Now these are just suggestions. These are degen. So full degen mode. It's not a guarantee. None of these things are guarantees. But if you're gonna go degenerate, go degenerate. We're gonna start throwing those out there along with our other bets. I thought that 3-leg parlay was gonna be safe. I thought that Magomed, Aliev, and Almeida was a safe parlay at a +106. Good money, but Magomed didn't get it done, man. His grappling wasn't all there, but it is what it is, right? There are going to be some L's in this game. There are going to be some W's in this game, but overall, we still do well. We had good return this week. We're going to have a great return next week. We got Peyton Talbot on the card, man. One of my favorite prospects to watch. I think he's going to get a knockout, but we'll talk about that when we get into that card. All right. We're Combat Sport, guys. Make sure you show some love. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the comment. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for tapping in. We're going to have a great year. Any parting words, my man?
take us home, chance. See you next week.
See y'all next week. Love what you love. Do what you do. Peace.